Well, after the Iowa caucus, Vivek Ramaswamy dropping out, immediately endorsing Trump, we saw this last night, Vivek teaming up with Trump on the campaign trail in New Hampshire, and now everyone's starting the rumors, is Vivek actually going to be Trump's VP? I did a video on this about 5 or 6 months ago with possible dream team, Vivek Ramaswamy and Donald Trump. For Trump, it's really a question of number one, when you're talking about the VP, first and foremost, we should understand that the VP could potentially be president. So I would say, yes, I would fully endorse Vivek to be the VP over any of these other choices, and certainly Vivek in terms of his ability to articulate, argue, he would be an amazing asset for Donald Trump in that sense, the political sense. But when you're talking about actual votes and what the VP's job is, that's why we're seeing, you can take a look. I wanted to look at the actual updated odds, and I thought Vivek was going to be clearly in first place because of the dialogue going around. Vivek out campaigning for Trump just a day after, visiting with Trump at a Trump rally a day after he drops out. Look at this. Kristi Noem, the woman from South Dakota, the younger female, currently the favorite, plus 390. Vivek at plus 700. You do also have Ben Carson there. Nikki Haley sitting at plus 1350. That's very likely not going to happen. It seems like it's between Kristi Noem and Vivek. And if you want to appeal to a larger, broader audience, if you are Trump, the politically smart thing to do, even though Vivek, in terms of his ability to articulate, argue, possibly be the president if something were to happen to Donald Trump, Vivek would be better suited for that job. But if you're just talking about in the smaller picture and the 2024 election and these next 8 or 9 months, appealing to women more, it does feel like it would make more sense for Trump to choose Kristi Noem from South Dakota. So this will be something that's interesting. I just saw these odds. I was like, wow, Vivek was actually the favorite the last time I saw this about a week ago. You would think after he drops out, he would only, tighten being the favorite, maybe even go down to even money. Turns out now he's plus 700, and I guess there's a lot of political stuff behind the scenes, a lot of people voting and thinking that Noem is going to be the choice by Trump. These are all political moves to try to appeal to as many people as possible. Going with Mike Pence back in 2016, the evangelical vote, it did help Trump in the Rust Belt at least a little bit. Now, how much you want to say the VP helps, it's very debatable. But in terms of this, it does look like it's between Ramaswamy and Noem. I think, listen, Ramaswamy is great for sure, but it's like he's just echoing what Trump is saying. I actually think Ramaswamy's going further and, even taking it and doing a better job of articulating Trump's talking points. But it's like when you're talking about a VP, you have to try and appeal to a broader audience rather than choosing your 2.0. So that's my opinion on the whole thing, on why Kristi Noem looks like could potentially be the favorite. New Hampshire GOP primary. We've got another updated poll here, and this is just horrible news for Nikki Haley. She's down 16. This is an updated poll that just came out back on the 15th through the 16th. And that's a huge lead for Trump. Haley's only chance is somehow winning New Hampshire and really building momentum off that. Even if she wins New Hampshire, I've said it really doesn't matter, but even you take a look at New Hampshire, she's getting trounced, or I wouldn't say trounced, but 16 is, in a poll. Certainly it's only a poll, but if you're Haley, you would like it to be 7 or 8, because at least then you're within shouting distance. DeSantis getting crushed at just 5%. Of course, the narrative out of Iowa was DeSantis slightly overperforming. Would it matter? In terms of the bigger picture, DeSantis is still so far behind, and you can see at just 5% in New Hampshire. Could he drop out if he actually gets 5% in New Hampshire, or will he hang on for Super Tuesday? I'm sure the establishment is going to want him to drop out because he is stealing some vote from Nikki Haley. You can see amongst Republican, Trump plus 37, and they bring the independents to vote in New Hampshire. And this is where everyone was like, oh, Nikki Haley's going to perform so great with independents. Plus 6, it's just not good enough. You need to be way better than that because Trump has such a huge advantage when you're talking about the Republican vote. When you bring in the independents, number one, there's just not nearly enough independents to make up for a plus 37 for Trump amongst Republicans. Number two, you're only plus 6 anyways. So you would have to be at least plus 20 or plus 25 to bring those numbers even. But that's just kind of the updated poll in New Hampshire. It's looking like New Hampshire probably not going to be a very drama-filled state unless we get some polls that come out and say, oh, it's different now. Nikki Haley, I saw she was down by 7 or 8, about a week ago, but I don't know now. Seems like she's lost some momentum after that poor Iowa showing. And then we've got this stuff. I find this interesting, the Reddit stuff. So obviously X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, they do have a serious bot problem. And it's actually gotten even worse now for Twitter, where I like Elon Musk a lot. I think what he did is great, but the problem is he's incentivized just crap content and replying to content, and now all the replies on Twitter are all messed up. They need to try and fix that. You've got people just replying with completely useless stuff, but it's not just Twitter. You take a look at something like Reddit, and I know Reddit is more of a niche thing. A lot of people aren't on Reddit, but Reddit, we know their politics are extremely left-wing, and I couldn't even guesstimate how many of these accounts are bots. I'm sure it's a lot of them. The issue is Reddit, it's almost impossible to tell in a bot account because everyone's anonymous already. But you can see these are two different subreddits, two different accounts posting the exact same thing. And then underneath the original post, which is already done by bots, hating on Trump, hating on boomers, whatever, right? Boomers are racist. We get it. Do your whole act. But not only is the original post a complete bot, even under it, there's different accounts posting the exact same thing. So Reddit is just full of manipulation, and I think Reddit can be a useful tool, but in terms of politics, you take a look at the Our Politics page, it's, I couldn't even guesstimate how many bots it is. It's impossible to tell. They're all anonymous, so it is political cancer. That's what I like to call Reddit when it comes to that. And then we do just have, here's some headlines: how Trump dominated Iowa and held back DeSantis and Haley. Iowa blowout proves Trump is presumptive GOP nominee. Yeah, it's pretty much over at this point, especially if Trump's actually up 16 in New Hampshire. Iowa, not the landslide win for Trump some seem to think it is. Well, it was a record margin in the Iowa caucus. I don't know what that headline is. Pollster breaks down Iowa caucus results. It's 2016 all over again for the media. Nikki Haley has 7 weeks to flip the script. No, she's got like 2 weeks. She needs to win New Hampshire. You lose New Hampshire, that's like her big thing is possibly winning New Hampshire. That was the state that voters were appealing. The independents were voting. That was supposed to help her if she loses New Hampshire. All of these candidates, all of this is it's just jargon. Is DeSantis still on the road to nowhere? Yes, DeSantis has a very little chance of doing anything at this point unless something happens to Trump. You lost by 30. Sure, you came in second, but you still lost by 30. DeSantis must help destroy Haley and the corrupt donor class. I'm guessing they're referencing into DeSantis. I mean, I don't even know what that DeSantis dropping out and endorsing Trump maybe. Biden needs to govern like he's probably going to lose. Well, no amount of governance done by Biden is really going to help him. What the Democrats are going to do, it's a fearmonger tactic against Trump, a threat to democracy. I mean, we even saw Rachel Maddow, the Joy Taylor, I think, from CNN come out and she hate on conservative white Christians, saying there's too many in Iowa. But Rachel Maddow, during the Iowa caucus, it's announced that Trump wins. She's already, oh, it's a fascist. Trump, we're trying to keep this country from turning fascist. It's like, I mean, Trump had 4 years. Why wouldn't he? If Trump is this horrible fascist, why would you wait to turn it fascist? Why wouldn't you do it in 2016 immediately when you take power? None of these people make any sense. And it's the same thing with World War III and all the wars that Trump hasn't started, but people think Trump will start. Well, he's already been in office for 4 years. You cannot use the same argument you were using in 2016 in 2024. It doesn't work. We've already seen Trump in office and the wars that didn't get started under him, because we were all guaranteed when Trump won in 2016, all of the crying, everything, it was a meltdown. We were all going to die. That was the thought. Oh my God, Trump. And of course, nothing happens. And now they're doing the exact same thing. So it's like, how dumb do you think we are? We've already seen 4 years of it. Now you can say Trump's presidency was bad. He had a bad approval rating, this, that, and the other. And you can argue about it. Generally, if you're a Democrat, you're going to think the Republican had a terrible presidency. If you're a Republican, you're going to think the Democrat had a terrible presidency because you don't agree with the party's decisions. But in general, this idea that Trump's going to start all these wars, we've already seen 4 years of it. It hasn't happened. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You just keep lying and lying and lying. People are not going to believe it. But what Biden is going to do, they've already come out and they've already started it. It's a threat to democracy. January 6th, all of it. And that's what they're really trying to get Trump on, is January 6th with all of these charges. Trump having to go into a courtroom either the day before or the day after Super Tuesday. Not that any of it's going to matter. Republicans really don't care. They think it's all biased and politically motivated. And that's the other issue, is you have a lot of these judges who are Democrats and they're in major Democratic cities. How do you expect us to take this seriously? This is a kangaroo court. These people are completely biased. It's just the reality of the situation. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.